Hello, it's Fran Davidson from psychicandenergywork.com.au and welcome to part one of my monthly observations for December 2025. Part one always looks at the month that just was, in this case, November. The reason for doing that is to help you further assimilate with or process whatever played out for you. Being November, November is always a bit of a weird, wired time. It was slightly different, I found, this year, less like that than it has been in previous years. Often November is the really crazy, energetic month, and then all of a sudden in December it just goes whoosh, quiet. We're getting the hang of this and we're breaking through. Whereas this November, certainly it was potent. Certainly there were some rather loud dynamics that were playing through for people, especially because we had, I think it was 4 master numbers, 2 11 2s, 1 10 1 and 140. Now, in one sense, they asked us to get future ready. Life's always doing that, isn't it? But what I mean by that is that, 2 11 2s and 1 10 1, not because last month was the first time they manifested, because they also manifested the month before, 5 master numbers, so even more. Just as an aside, a master number, you could say, has or carries more spiritual oomph, more pushing, more pulling to help us really get stuff sorted, whether it's in our mind, in our visions about the future, whether it's in our behaviours, our responses to others, anything. What's interesting about 11 and 10, as I say on the website, so as a quick aside, another one, this video runs alongside of a little bit of text that I've put onto the website psychicandenergywork.com.au on the monthly observations page. You'll see it in the first section of that page that is about last month, or recapping last month as I call it. So in a sense, November helped us, or came to help people get connected into the real you, the real them, to the next degree. And again, life is often doing that. But in a sense, that sort of journey can play through as quite an unsettling time, because whilst one can be the beginning of the next year's cycle, and therefore whilst one can see people very ready to get going, hello, it's the beginning, I'm ready, let me at it. The universe often has another plan. And it's not because it necessarily disagrees with what the self is envisaging. It's just that on one level, whilst it is the beginning, it is also the induction. And what I mean by that, it's the orientation stage. It's a time when life says, you know what, you're just starting a whole new 9-stage cycle, which therefore means what? From November, I think, through to August or September next year is a 9-year cycle in itself, and last month therefore saw us starting that. So in the 1 year, life can often say, yep, you're at the beginning, you're at the start, but instead of allowing you to just truck on in to this new cycle with all of the mindsets and habits and ways of being that you've had before, I'm going to just make you slow your caboose down, sit still, observe, and get the hang of what I, as in life, universe, divine, whatever you call it, wants you to achieve, wants you to solidify, and wants you to also release and move free from over this next stage or 9-stage phase. So getting to know you is very much an objective of master numbers 10 and 11. In that sense, therefore, one can be very much a preparatory time, a time that, yes, all right, it's not as if a one period blocks all action, all forward movement. It doesn't. And yet it can feel as if it's blocking that level of progress or momentum for as long as it takes us to really release from the subtle, from the inner voices that are just automatic pilot or running on models that are really no longer appropriate for us. So to the degree that you've found life sort of saying, you know what, I know you want to get going, but you know what, I need you to do some homework. I need you to release stuff. I need you to deal with stuff and get clear on it before I let you at it. You are being taken care of. Yeah, because of course the invisible only has, on one level, blockage. Yeah, the invisible. Yeah. At its disposal to slow us down. It's not like it can walk up to us necessarily as a physical manifestation in a day and put its hands on our shoulders and go, you know what, I just need you to stop right now. It uses experiences, events, dynamics, energies to slow you down to have that effect. But by doing that, it helps us dive for whatever it is sort of getting in our way that we're not even aware of yet. So in that sense, 10.1 and 11.2 are all about a phase that helps us come to know who we really are right now, what the person, the self, the level of self we have arrived at. In that way, it is a period that helps us integrate with that awareness in a way that it becomes top of mind, not in a projected egoic sense, but as, you know what, I'm this now. I'm ready for that now. And implicit in that can be a sense of, again, needing to release stuff. Sometimes that's really easy. That doesn't suit me anymore. I'm just going to let it go. At other times, the one period can feel more alone, more exposed, more unsupported, whether that's by human beings, human feedback, or whether that's, again, by life itself. One can be a time when it feels as if the universe is withdrawn from us. We feel its presence less as a sensation that goes, you know what, you're on track, you're fine, life's going okay. By doing that, through that exposure to silence, through lack of apparent support or the apparent lack of support, life helps us tune into, not necessarily because we want to, tune into those narratives that are running underneath our surface that really undermine us. Not necessarily only the narratives, but also any tendency to trigger into negative conclusions, negative beliefs, negative affirmations that really are a waste of energy. Easy to say. So don't be surprised if one last month in master number form helped you break free, help you shed another layer of yourself, and quite possibly helped you learn to listen to yourself more, or at least back what you felt, what you sensed, what you knew more. And in closing, that's something that we can touch upon. How do we do that? How do we listen to ourselves better? Essentially, you make the room to do so and you allow the process to take you where it needs you to go. What do I mean by that? We've got to be really wary of overindulging feelings and thoughts. At the end of the day, it pays very much to anchor first into the desire, the intention, the given, that hello, whatever you want that to be playing through for everybody as a very positive, affirming, and universally beneficial dynamic and experience. In other words, you're not doing your energy work or your manifesting work from the aspect of, I need to win, I need to have the most, it's me more than anybody else. Everybody matters equally. That doesn't mean put yourself down or diminish your value, but it does mean that you don't need to elbow out the way or fear that there is not enough in a way that therefore sharing equally could result in a lesser outcome. So with that in mind, use breath, use time out. And breath can be used in exercise for sure, but breath can also be used as an agent that quietens mind. And sometimes we do that by, as we're breathing in through nose, out through mouth, for the count of 4 or 5 each way, allow yourself to consciously choose to let go all narratives, all chatter, all silent voice, not just yours, everybody's, not just current, maybe even yesterday's, maybe even last year's. all the soundtracks that silently play through and keep us going, keep us accompanied in our movie as we go about creating it day to day. By choosing to release noise, not because noise needs to be a negative word. Choose to release all noise in a way that therefore by creating that or welcoming in that zone of silence, you're also creating the space for the divine source, the universe, whatever you call it, your guidance. Yeah. You're creating the space where actually, you know what? You have enough room to donate into this space and therefore to guide me, to confirm what I've been sensing or knowing or concluding, to show me more about that, whether that's as a concluding mechanism or whether that is an empowering and activating mechanism into next steps. Sometimes that process asks us first to do things like shed tears, release anger, go into discomfort. Yeah, but any sense of those aspects are simply your intuition allowing you to create the room to express the things that need to be said, to have the space clear, to then receive guidance and healing as you need. I hope that sort of makes sense, because in one way, as master number form, is that place where we allow all self to be as it is. Therefore, we assign all self, including our own, including us. We assign it the privilege, the right, the space, the ability to express what it needs to get things sorted, to get matters resolved, to wear what that needs to, so as to inform, so as to clarify, so as to heal, so as to empower, so as to point the way forward. Yeah? So last month, in a sense, therefore, was very much here to energize, to liberate, to clear landscape, so as to then sense what you're ready for now, what next year wants to be for you, and how you can start to engage with that and welcome it in as a dynamic that happens. All the very best to you. Call me if you need a hand. Call me if you would like a reading, therefore information, guidance on where you're at or what's been going on in your world from any angle. Take good care, have a lovely December, and feel free to click through into part 2 now, where I'm looking at this month and why it's here. Not why it's here. Yes, why it's here, as in what it's likely to help you activate into and grow more of on a spiritual level. Thanks for tuning in. All the very best to you.